Chapter 27. The Bigfoot team couldn't prevent the crunch of leaves and twigs nor the soft whisper of their boots on pine needles, but otherwise they were a silent train, weaving around the firs and ferns that leaned at curving artistic angles as if searching for dying rays of sunlight. We're going to go do it different this time. Silence. Bigfoot will come to us, Billy had said and kept his word. It was so quiet, in fact, that as they rested, Billy could hear the mewling cries of Robo's empty tummy. The team hadn't stopped at the falls. They trudged past and later climbed a few meters beyond a small knoll that created a bunker where any creatures passing would have to crest and be exposed before realizing the team sat waiting. No film, Cable mouthed to Petra as they sat below a daylight sky that bled to death between the gaps in the canopy of trees. Film what? She mouthed back. Whispers? What we're doing now. She rolled her eyes and shook her head. A trail cam was mounted at the top of the hill, and if the bright light of its flash split the blackness, she would spring into action. Until then, she needed to rest, and Billy had insisted that all the electronics were to be squashed. No heat sensors, no phones, no night vision. Nothing. Billy and Rink leaned against a fallen fir with soft moss on one of its sides above a bed of musky, sweet, leathery scented vegetation. With the slightest breeze flowing over the top of the hill and playing with Billy's light hair, only the faintest fragrance of something resembling the aroma of cat piss spoiled the ambiance. Rink leaned slightly toward Billy, and her breathing slowed and whispered out into the darkening evening. He tried to let his eyes adjust and focus on the tiny specks of starlight visible through the trees, but clouds had begun to cover the sky. By the time daylight passed away, not even a firefly disturbed the ink. When Billy heard the howl, the hairs on his arms and the back of his neck stood on end. His pulse accelerated, and he actually heard the stiffening of several team members who also heard the call. It sounded as though it echoed from the top of the ridge, only further down. They waited in silence. An hour, then two. Nothing. Rink, you awake? Billy whispered, unable to see her in the darkness, even though he thought his eyes had adjusted to the light. Only the faintest of tree outlines was visible. I think I am, she said after a moment. Not a whisper, but her voice, low and gentle as if it might have been speaking to a spirit or sprite. She had slumped over and was leaning fully on Billy, and she didn't move. We've sort of divided into these factions, he said, still whispering, but lower and more slowly, into Rink's ear. I think Gable is by himself. 12 o'clock, against a tree. Billy had been trying to make out the team, in the murky nothingness, as he did his best to stay awake. Everyone was exhausted, mentally as well as physically. Robo and Petra are at our 2 o'clock, he continued. Harrison is at hour 9 and is snoring a little, if you listen closely. Indeed he was, like a small bullfrog, and Billy imagined Harrison's chin and neck expanding and contracting, green, wet, and shiny. The others asleep? She asked, as if a conspiracy to steal away had been hatched. Gable and Petra for sure, Billy said, the actual smiling sound of his lips crinkling the comment. Robo? No. I would imagine he's groggy. He's not snoring, though. Silence stole over them, then, and a leaf could be heard settling onto the ground. What are we doing, Billy? What do you mean? I mean, we're out here in the woods, sitting, waiting. This is how we're spending our time, our lives. We know a Bigfoot didn't murder that girl. Were you awake? Billy asked. When? The howl. No, I didn't hear anything. We heard a howl, Billy said. Billy, Rink began, and then waited as if she was measuring her speech. You know what a coyote sounds like. Wolves. All animals. You want to find Bigfoot so bad. Maybe it clouds your judgment. I do my best for that not to happen. I know you do. You believe. We haven't seen it, and if anyone could see it, it would be us. We've tried so hard. I need proof. Do you believe in ghosts? Spirits? I don't know what I believe anymore. Brink wasn't taking the bait. Then that silence again. It was worse than whispering. The conspiracy was beginning to fracture. It was Rink who decided to murmur again. Life is fragile. It's so, Rink said and paused. So complicated. Mean. Billy couldn't find a way to respond. He let the comment settle over them in the gloom. Tiny footsteps skittered by, through the team and on behind them into the night. He honestly had never seen a chipmunk in the woods. So much for the trail cam. What was that? Chipmunks? Billy asked. Chipmunks are diurnal. Squirrels? Same. Then footsteps. Most certainly a deer. Or two. Should we turn on the night vision? Rink asked. No. Wait, Billy said. He sounded out of breath. More silence. A twig broke softly. Behind them this time. Far down the ridge. Then all was quiet again. The animals are moving, Billy said. They waited. Billy imagined Bigfoot creeping through the darkness. They'll know an hour before you get there. Did it see them? Did it know they were there? What if it had murdered that girl? If a Bigfoot was capable of doing such a thing, the team had no chance to defend itself if an attack occurred. For a moment, he considered the possibility, but as quickly as it came, he pushed it back into the recesses of his mind, an illogical thought that failed to fit any of his narratives. Suddenly the darkness moved and billowed around Billy, hazy and slightly damp, as if someone had swung an open hand at his face and missed. It was as if 4 ghosts had passed, and before he could react, he heard Rink's sharp inhalation and surprise as if awaking from a nightmare. Seconds later, he heard steps, far below them, followed by something even worse. Gunshots.